L'argomento che tratteremo oggi è di grande interesse, certamente per noi, ma anche per le start-up italiane che vogliono e devono uscire dai confini nazionali se vogliono aprire i loro orizzonti al mercato globale e agli investitori internazionali. Ritengo che Hong Kong sia un'ottima piattaforma da cui partire per avviare un processo di internazionalizzazione, inserendosi direttamente in una regione che cresce a ritmi difficilmente paragonabili in quelli di altre parti del mondo, inserendosi in un contesto favorevole alle imprese dove tutto è concepito per facilitare lo sviluppo, il reperimento di fondi, la produzione di profitti, l'espansione commerciale verso i mercati asiatici, ma anche verso il resto del mondo, dove il prelievo fiscale non è opprimente e non ostacola lo sviluppo, dove le imprese trovano aiuto e sostegno nello sviluppo dei loro progetti, non solo sostegno finanziario, ma anche tecnologico da parte delle molte strutture, incubatori, università, venture capital, enti pubblici e privati che operano a Hong Kong a sostegno dell'innovazione e delle imprese. Dovendo decidere il titolo del mio intervento di oggi, ho pensato a una frase molto concisa che esprimesse lo scenario che ho appena descritto. Ho pensato alla nostra espressione una città a misura d'uomo, per intendere una città dove ci si trova a proprio agio, dove ogni cosa che ci occorre per rendere la nostra vita più piacevole è a portata di mano. Ho pensato alle centinaia di imprenditori e manager italiani che conosco e che operano a Hong Kong. Sono i più forti sostenitori del clima favorevole alle imprese che si respira a Hong Kong e sono i loro commenti che mi hanno ispirato il titolo, una città a misura di imprenditore, perché questo è effettivamente Hong Kong. In questo momento di grande preoccupazione causata dall'incertezza sulla ripresa delle attività economiche, abbiamo tutti il dovere di ricercare le scorciatoie, le opportunità di crescita ovunque si trovino. Non pensiamo in alcun modo di trasferire le aziende italiane a Hong Kong, non vogliamo portar via il lavoro dall'Italia, assolutamente. Al contrario, pensiamo alla necessità di stabilire una presenza fisica laddove ci sono le opportunità per far crescere le nostre aziende e creare occupazione e profitti in Italia. Per troppo tempo abbiamo trascurato i mercati asiatici e le opportunità che Hong Kong ci mette a disposizione per giocarci la partita a fianco dei concorrenti di ogni parte del mondo e a pari condizioni. Se non lo facciamo, la partita è persa, è una lotta impari, non riusciamo a essere competitivi. Oggi vorrei fornire solo una brevissima sintesi e citare solo alcuni dei motivi per cui la competizione è iniqua se non approfittiamo di quanto ci offre Hong Kong. È solo un'introduzione al programma che svolgeremo nelle prossime settimane, dedicato interamente alle start-up. Se avessimo voluto fornire un quadro completo in una sola volta, avremmo dovuto impiegare molte ore e non saremmo comunque riusciti a dare tutte le informazioni necessarie per capire come muoversi in un mondo tanto lontano e diverso dal nostro. Ho cercato di capire il motivo che ha impedito finora alle start-up italiane di avviare delle iniziative a Hong Kong, a fianco di quelle americane, israeliane, inglesi e francesi, solo per citare alcune tra le più attive a Hong Kong. Ho immaginato che il motivo fosse legato a una mancanza di comprensione o di fiducia nei propri mezzi e quindi ho voluto programmare degli incontri accessibili a tutti, come sono appunto quelli che ci mettono a disposizione piattaforme come Zoom, direttamente con i player principali dell'ecosistema delle start-up di Hong Kong. Oggi incontrerete alcuni dei miei colleghi di Invest Hong Kong, sui quali potrete contare per l'assistenza ad ogni passo che farete nel processo di avvicinamento e di avviamento dei vostri progetti a Hong Kong. La prossima settimana avrete invece l'occasione di incontrare uno dei player più importanti del panorama delle start-up di Hong Kong, il Science and Technology Park, e il suo team che gestisce i vari programmi di incubazione. Avrete anche l'opportunità di presentare i vostri progetti al team, che darà un riscontro immediato sulla validità del vostro progetto e sulla possibilità di essere inseriti in uno dei loro programmi di incubazione. Chi non l'avesse fatto ancora è pregato di sottoporci il proprio progetto al più presto per la selezione dei 5 progetti più affini alle aspettative del Parco Scientifico e Tecnologico di Hong Kong. Difficilmente potremo esaminare e presentare un numero maggiore. Per coloro che non fossero selezionati, ci saranno altre opportunità di presentare il loro progetto ad altri incubatori più adatti al tipo di progetto, come Cyberport, Betatron, Brink e altri che seguiranno nel corso di questo programma delle prossime settimane. Per questo motivo raccomando di seguirci lungo tutto il percorso che si svolgerà con i prossimi incontri, che vi permetterà di avere un quadro completo dell'ecosistema delle start-up di Hong Kong. E ora, come promesso, una brevissima sintesi delle attrattive principali di Hong Kong per gli imprenditori italiani desiderosi di competere nel mercato globale. Iniziamo con la localizzazione di Hong Kong, di cui ho accennato, al centro della regione con il più alto potenziale per le nostre esportazioni. Hong Kong si trova al centro di un'area tra le più attive, le più dinamiche, con il maggiore potenziale di crescita. Ma parlando di localizzazione non potrei non accennare alla cosiddetta Greater Bay Area, un agglomerato strategico che comprende Hong Kong, Macao e 9 città della regione del Guangdong, confinante con Hong Kong, che insieme formano una potenza straordinaria in termini di PIL, potere d'acquisto, industrie manifatturiere, servizi finanziari e logistici. Tanto più strategica per le start-up che localizzate a Hong Kong possono usufruire di partner tecnologici a Shenzhen, raggiungibili in taxi o con i mezzi pubblici da Hong Kong, o di partner industriali di ogni tipo nel resto della regione. Ma non voglio anticipare troppo a questo riguardo, perché mercoledì prossimo avrete modo di ascoltare una presentazione dedicata proprio alla Greater Bay Area da parte di un esperto di Invest Hong Kong nel corso del webinar organizzato con Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. Merita una considerazione la posizione molto speciale di Hong Kong in quanto regione della Repubblica Popolare Cinese, ma con uno statuto che gli permette un'autonomia totale in termini di diritto, per esempio. A Hong Kong è in vigore la common law britannica e i processi si svolgono a Hong Kong secondo le proprie leggi, fino all'ultimo grado di giudizio, tramite giudici internazionali esperti appunto di common law. Una posizione speciale anche in termini di territorio doganale. Hong Kong è un territorio doganale diverso da quello della Cina. È un porto franco, esente da dazio e licenze di importazione sulla stragrande maggioranza dei beni importati. Merci possono entrare ed uscire liberamente, lo sdoganamento richiede normalmente 24 ore o a volte meno. È diverso in termini di lingua, importantissimo. Le lingue ufficiali di Hong Kong sono l'inglese e il cantonese e chi ha viaggiato in Cina sa bene le difficoltà di comunicazione e di comprensione che incontrano gli stranieri che non conoscono la lingua cinese, e la comunicazione, sapete bene, nel business è fondamentale. Grosse differenze in termini di informazione. In Cina Google, YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp e molti altri mezzi di comunicazione a cui siamo abituati sono vietati. L'informazione è sottoposta a censura. A Hong Kong tutto questo è totalmente libero. Quindi potete immaginare la grande posizione strategica di trovarsi a Hong Kong in una città totalmente libera, ma a ridosso, a pochi minuti o di taxi o di metropolitana dal territorio cinese. Un altro punto, un'altra grossa differenza che occorre importante menzionare è i controlli valutari. Ogni trasferimento di soldi per qualunque finalità è sottoposto a controlli ed autorizzazioni in Cina, mentre Hong Kong è uno dei territori più liberi al mondo in questo senso. La valuta di Hong Kong, il dollaro di Hong Kong, è liberamente convertibile in tutto il mondo e legato al dollaro USA. Non ci sono restrizioni, si possono portare dentro e fuori capitali e profitti senza dover chiedere autorizzazioni di alcun tipo. finirei con la differenza in termini di tasse, una differenza non da poco. Dicevo prima, a Hong Kong non esiste, non c'è un regime fiscale opprimente che impedisce lo sviluppo. A Hong Kong c'è una sola imposta sui redditi delle imprese al 8,25% sui primi 2 milioni di dollari di Hong Kong di profitti netti. Quindi una società che produce profitti sui primi 2 milioni di dollari di Hong Kong, circa 200.000 euro di profitti netti, paga soltanto l'8,25%, tassa unica, e sulla parte rimanente paga il 16,50%. Non c'è IVA, non ci sono altre tasse a carico dei redditi delle imprese e le imposte sui redditi delle persone fisiche sono tra i più bassi al mondo. Eppure Hong Kong e Cina. Siamo all'interno della Cina, all'interno di questo grande continente, questo grande mercato che cresce e che ha 1,5 miliardi di consumatori, ma siamo a Hong Kong, in un'area speciale, con tutte queste libertà economiche, con tutti questi privilegi. Hong Kong è parte integrante, quindi, del più grande mercato e della seconda economia mondiale. Queste importanti differenze e molte altre che vi illustreremo nel corso delle presentazioni che seguiranno oggi e durante i prossimi incontri sono i motivi per cui non possiamo e non dobbiamo sottovalutare l'importanza di essere presenti con una propria unità, che sia commerciale, che sia di ricerca e sviluppo o di qualunque altro tipo a Hong Kong. Costituire una società a Hong Kong è un processo rapido, estremamente semplice e poco costoso. Il capitale minimo richiesto per una società a responsabilità limitata è di $1 di Hong Kong per ogni socio. E mediamente tutto il processo di costituzione e registrazione si conclude in una settimana. Il primo passo è mettersi in contatto con noi per uno scambio di idee su come procedere. Il resto non sarà tutto facile, ma noi ce la metteremo tutta affinché il vostro progetto sia realizzabile. E ricordo che i servizi di Invest Hong Kong sono gratuiti. Io concluderei qui, ringrazio per la pazienza nell'avermi ascoltato e ora ho il piacere, prima di tutto, di passare all'inglese. Quindi ho il piacere di cedere la parola alle mie colleghe Peggy, Kwok e Jayne Chan, che con tanta professionalità hanno creato e gestiscono una divisione di Invest Hong Kong dedicata alle start-up di tutto il mondo. Peggy, we turn now to English. From now on, I promise I will not use Italian anymore. Peggy and Jayne. So I will invite you to present, and thank you for listening.
Hi, hello everyone, buongiorno. This is Peggy Kwok from Invest Hong Kong, Senior Manager of StartMeup team, and we have Jayne Chan here, who heads up our team in Invest Hong Kong. So I'd like to welcome all of you to this webinar hosted by our dear friend in Milano, Stefano in Laria. We know that the coronavirus has been hard-hitting Italy, and our hearts really go out to all of you all. And in this difficult time, we really welcome all of you for tuning in and making time to hear what we have to say about the Hong Kong startup ecosystem. So I will begin by introduce our dynamic and vibrant startup ecosystem, followed by a short video of our festival, and then we will pass it to Jayne, who will lead our Q&A session. So here we are now, we will begin. So I'll give you a brief introduction of what StartMeup HK is. StartMeup HK is a startup initiative within Invest Hong Kong to provide a one-stop service platform for global startups with three key objectives. First, we encourage and attract global startups from all over the world to set up in Hong Kong. We provide them with pragmatic support that Stefano mentioned earlier in the areas of facilitation of visa, bank account opening, or providing you guys with networking opportunities, PR and marketing support, or even introductions to clusters. Secondly, we have the mission of promoting Hong Kong as an innovation tech hub. And with Jayne, she travels all around the world and attending different tech conferences around the world, such as Web Summit in Lisbon, Collision in Canada, the Next Web in Amsterdam, you name it. So she has been our evangelist to promote what to different startups globally, what kind of business opportunities reside here in Hong Kong, and how we provide pragmatic support to them. And thirdly, we also work very closely with the stakeholders in the ecosystem in order to build it up. So our ultimate vision is to really bring all these global innovative expertise to Hong Kong to collaborate with the local community so as to make Hong Kong much stronger economically. Annually, we organize our flagship StartMeup HK festival, which we'll tell you more a bit later. So let's take a deep dive into the startup ecosystem. Every year in Invest Hong Kong, we do an annual startup survey to take stock of how many startups we have, what kind of founders they are, what do they do, and what kind of industries they are in. As of last year's September, we have recorded close to 3,100, over 3,100 startups. But we believe the real number is close to 3,500, just because a lot of these startups have expanded beyond the co-working spaces, incubators and accelerators, and have become more established companies and doing their own things. So in the last 6 years, we really see a tremendous growth in our startup community, whereby back in 2013, we only have a handful of co-working spaces. When we look at the nationality composition of the startup founders, we find it actually to be quite international, with 1/3 of them coming from countries from all over the world. In this chart, you see we have about 15% of them from US, 14% from mainland China, 12% from the UK, 7% from France. We have Italy around here, that you guys make up about 2.6% of our overseas startup founders. So why don't we take the challenge of moving this Italy with this beautiful Italian flag here, over here. So Invest Hong Kong, and you guys will help you to invest in Hong Kong. Next, so we will take a look at what kind of industry makeup these founders are from. Actually, it is very much related to the economy of Hong Kong. Whereas Hong Kong is famous to be an international financial center, just after London and New York, it is also an established trading hub with streamlined logistics services and a service-oriented economy with business professional services. Not to mention our traditional pillars of industry, such as tourism, hospitality, and retail. So in the last few years, we have observed the trend that all these key industries in Hong Kong, they are revving up their investments in technology such as AI, blockchain, machine learning, so as to come up with more customer-centric value propositions to a customer base which is more and more tech-savvy, so that they can stay relevant and competitive in the industries. It is not surprising to see the biggest number of startup groups is from the fintech space. Here you can see 456, followed by e-commerce, supply chain management, logistics technology, information computer technology, design, and professional services. So I'd like to give you a snapshot of Italian business in Hong Kong. As of 2019, we have about 9,000 companies in Hong Kong with a parent company outside of Hong Kong. And we have about 40% regional headquarters, 40 regional headquarters, 60 regional offices, and 70 local offices with companies, with the parent companies in Hong Kong, in Italy. And then we, of course, Italian fashion and luxury items is well loved by the Hong Kong and also the Chinese population. We have two banks Italian banks in Hong Kong, Unibanca, and also Intesa Sanpaolo. Intesa Sanpaolo is very active in its Hong Kong startup ecosystem. So let us look at the fintech space in Hong Kong. This diagram just shows you how dynamic and how many players we have in the Hong Kong fintech ecosystem. We have over about 450 startups, fintech startups in the space of insurtech, regtech, wealth tech, and blockchain, supported by a group of accelerators, innovation lab, and invested by a key group of venture capitalists. We believe a few milestones that is achieved in the last 2 years in the fintech ecosystem that would boost further development in the fintech industry. They include the granting of 8 virtual bank licenses and 3 virtual insurance licenses, opening of the application program interface to startups, which means that startup can now have access to the data in the banking industry so that it will drive more co-creation between incumbent banks and the startups. And also we have 3 fintech sandboxes set up by our regulatory authorities, which allow them to test startup solutions in fintech without full compliance to regulatory requirement so that they can drive more innovation by reducing development costs. So apart from the fintech ecosystem, the startup ecosystem in Hong Kong is really underpinned by a wide array of incubators and accelerators. We have the early movers. They are publicly funded organizations such as Cyberport and Hong Kong Science Park. So they provide, until today, they provide very generous support to startups in terms of mentorship, providing premises, and actual funding support. And also, they are also very highly valued for their investors networks, enterprise network, and also creating lots of collaboration and co-creation opportunities between corporates and startups. But the very fact that our startup ecosystem has a large abundance of private players, of incubators and accelerators, just show you how much potential the city has in terms of nurturing our next generation of startups. To name a few, we have HKAI Lab, which is an AI incubators backed by Alibaba and Sense Science and Hong Kong Science Park. We have Brink here, which is an IoT hardware accelerator, and it has moved into food technology and energy tech space recently. We have FinTech Innovation Lab by Accenture. Betatron, which you will know a bit more later in the later series of webinar. They are formed by a group of well-established investment firms in Hong Kong. And apart from funding support, they really provide really hands-on guidance for startups to help them scale up and fundraising. And also we have here StartUp Italy, which is an innovation initiative by the Italian Chamber of Commerce. Last year, they brought 6 Italian startups in the retail and fashion tech space for a week in Hong Kong and Guangzhou so that they can know more about our ecosystem and also meet potential investors. Now, we also observe the trend that established corporates in Hong Kong have established their own innovation lab in order to drive more value for their business. For example, here we have Eureka Nova, which is a startup initiative backed by a conglomerate in Hong Kong so that they can invest in startup solutions that would actually help them integrate in their business lines. And also they collaborate with other banks such as Mizuho and technology company Tencent to come up with different industry-focused startup programs. Okay, so no review of the startup ecosystem is really complete without mentioning the unicorns. As of 2019, last year, we have 7 official unicorns in Hong Kong, and they are from a wide diverse of industries, such as logistics, travel tech, and fintech, etc. So for a startup ecosystem that is just 6 years old, pretty nascent, and with a population just over 7.2 million, we are really quite serious in nurturing our startup, and it is also actually one of the highest per capita in the world. So you may have heard of Klook or Klook, which provides a SaaS platform for travel activities bookings, but they have also digitalized the ticket purchase and boosted bookings for many international railway networks such as Eurail and Japan Rail. We have VLab here, which is a fintech company. They provide a mobile lending experience by analyzing unstructured mobile data, and that would allow them to make credit decisions in just a matter of seconds. And they have successfully entered into the Greater Bay Area. GoGoVan and Lalamove, they are logistics on-demand platform, on-demand delivery platform that allows matching between drivers' availability and customers' demand instantly with a dynamic pricing schedule. SendTime here, which is actually a spin-off project from Chinese University of Hong Kong and has become the highest valued AI company in the world with its highly priced facial recognition and deep learning platform. Air Wallets here, it is a cloud proprietary platform which provides a remittance international payment to global e-commerce. They have actually closed a Series D round just last week of 116 million US dollars. BitMax here is a crypto currency trading platform. I'd like to mention the fact that INT development is really high on the government's agenda, which the Hong Kong government has set aside a budget of almost $13 billion for its development. This budget will be spent on enhancing our R&D activities, but also budget support via universities, research institutes, cyberport, science park, and also the private sector, with an aim of encouraging more R&D activities in Hong Kong to promote reindustrialization, to boost the productivity of industries across the board, but also to build a sustainable talent pipeline for us in Hong Kong. So these slide shows you some of the examples of a whole raft of funding schemes available to startups and SMEs in Hong Kong. We have funding initiative over here, which provides funding, but also tax incentives to encourage companies and startups to invest more in R&D. We have set up a co-investment venture fund with a group of private VC, venture capitalists in Hong Kong in order to boost investment in startups. We subsidize first-time patent application for individuals, but also companies. The technology voucher scheme here encourages company, whether you are in a tech space or non-tech space, to boost their productivity by subsidizing them to buy or purchase technology solutions. For the talent development side, the Hong Kong government has put in place 2 visa schemes that will facilitate talent coming to Hong Kong with a fast-track granting of the visa schemes so that technology companies can recruit talent that is needed in Hong Kong in a fast manner. We also subsidize companies to recruit researchers and PhD holders to help their R&D development. And of course, we have other marketing development scheme, which are general funding scheme, which help companies to upgrade their brand and expand their products and their market into the mainland and the ASEAN market. So you may ask, how do you get access to all this funding? Usually you have to incorporate a company in Hong Kong. And at the same time, if you are a digital tech company, we really strongly encourage you to look at incubation programs by Cyberport. Whereas you're in a technology company with R&D focus, we encourage you to look at the incubation program by Hong Kong Science Park. Because by entering into these structured programs, not only you receive practical support in terms of funding, mentorship from them, but they also provide a more streamlined service to apply for these government funding schemes. That said, you're of course welcome to look into other private incubators and accelerators, which they may have different admission requirements and provide more industry and tech focus training and mentorship. So I'd like to wrap up my presentation here by giving you a snippet of the StartMeup HK Festival. This is a flagship event, startup event organized by Invest Hong Kong. And it's a whole week of extravaganza of startup conferences, job fair, hackathon, investors meetings, business matching opportunities between corporates and startups, you name it. It is a week where really a lot of investors, startups, corporates, students, startups, they all gather together and learn. As of last year, in last year's festival, we have 17,000 attendees from over 50 countries flocking to Hong Kong just to attend this festival. So for this year's festival, because of the coronavirus, it has been postponed from February to July, and we're moving virtual this time for the first time. But despite that, we are very confident that we will bring our global audience this time a very exciting startup event. So we have a few core events confirmed. We have a Smart City Conference event by KPMG, a Retail Tech event by Bailey Communications, Startup Impact Summit, which is by the biggest startup community in Hong Kong, W Hub, Lifestyle Tech Conference by leading startup media in Hong Kong, Jumpstart Media, and last but not least, the Ecosystem Summit by the Mills. So I'd like to play a short video which gives you a flavor of what the StartMeup HK Festival is like for last year.
Well, I think first and foremost, Hong Kong is such an international centre for businesses of all shapes and sizes. For startups, it's a great place to access the fast-growing markets of the region.
There's also another trend in China that's very, very obvious: digital. It's everywhere.
Last year I came as well, and this year, good to see new technologies coming around every year. Yeah, it's a good event.
The Hong Kong SL government is determined to transform Hong Kong into a leading global hub for innovation and entrepreneurship, where startups can use the city as a lab, a showcase, and of course, a global launch pad.
We are seeing more people supporting the startup ecosystem, not only startup investors, but also corporates and also the public as a whole. So this is very important to boost up the ecosystem.
I think the key message is that technology is here. It's going to enable your business. So get ready for the speed of change. Also get ready to adopt the technology.
Biggest highlight every single time is the collaboration that we see in this community and the willingness to share ideas even amongst competitors. is what we think really makes this different to other markets in the world.
We're thrilled that Hong Kong is now on the global map of startup ecosystems. We hold by now the second highest density of unicorns per capita. We have so many world records, and we're thrilled that this is only the beginning.
Okay, so this is the end of my presentation. I'd like to pass the floor now to Jayne Chan, who is the head of StartMeup HK team. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to raise your questions in the chat area, and we're happy to answer them.
Thank you so much, Peggy. Thank you so much, Stefano. And really, it's a real pleasure. Even though I can't see you, I know that there's quite a few people who have signed in, listened to us. Thank you so much for your time. Here, we've got some time to actually address any kind of issues related to the startup ecosystem here. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to actually, share them on the chat side. And Stefano is going to be our moderator for this session, and he's going to sort of like pick out the relevant kind of questions. I'm happy to address those, because I don't think we've got a two-way system going for this time round, do we, Stefano?
First of all, let me say thank you. It has been really very, very interesting, your presentation. I think we don't have a time limit, but I suppose we have a few questions already, and we will, I think it will take another 10 or 15 minutes for those of you who don't have but before I get into this, let me ask two people that I would like to say a few words. There are two people who have been supporting us a lot in all our activities in Italy, in promoting and assisting Italian companies to develop their business in Hong Kong. One of them is Gianluca Mirante, whom I see already in the screen. Gianluca is not only a friend, but is an important guy here in the Hong Kong business environment scene, because he is the director of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, is our cousin organization, very similar to the ICE, Italian Trade Commission. Gianluca, would you like to say a few words, please? Thank you. You can do it.
Yes, thank you, Stefano and Peggy and Jayne. My message is very short. I totally agree with what I heard and saw in your presentation. I think in spite of our difficulties here, our confinement at home, my message is very simple. We are here, we are working to recover and to focus on Italian companies and their importance of being in Hong Kong in this difficult period. There are no other places in the world with such an important and amazing place where to develop their ideas and their strategies. So we join effort with Invest Hong Kong in many ways, not only related to technology. And so, of course, probably now more than before, Stefano, I can say that the so-called omni-channel strategy must be implemented. So even those small offline retails and activities must develop something online, and technology is the key. No, it's important to have a strategy also online. And Hong Kong represents an important and valid and strategic partner for developing this strategy, and also to access the Asian market through Hong Kong. So Greater Bay Area concept is particularly important. I heard, Stefano, your comments. This is absolutely agree for this kind of approach. And of course, for the time being, we hope that the situation will get back to normal very soon. We also have an office in Milan city center, so maybe we can follow up with some face-to-face meetings in the traditional way. I think this is still important in our market in Italy. And of course, we are planning some important activity together with, of course, the Hong Kong government, Invest Hong Kong, and also other strategic partners from Hong Kong in Italy next year. The event will be called Think Asia, Think Hong Kong, but we will have more time to talk about this in the coming months. Thanks a lot for our invitation, for your invitation. TDC in Milan is totally fine to support any of these ideas and to help Italian companies through the partnership with Invest Hong Kong to go to Hong Kong. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Gianluca. For anybody who wish to get in touch with Gianluca and his team, you will find the website link in the invitation that you have in the program of today's webinar. The other person I would like to invite is a well-known figure in the startup ecosystem in Italy. He's a journalist and a great expert. His name is Emil Abirashid. He's a journalist and advisor and director of startup business.
Well, it's my role in the Italian ecosystem. I'm both a journalist and advisor. So other than editing Startup Business, that is the online magazine where I am editor-in-chief, I help companies to grow up. And one of the things I do are the Italian Innovation Days around the world, where I bring Italian startups and scale-ups to discover foreign markets and meet with potential financial and industrial partners there. We've been in Australia, we've been in Japan, we've been in Singapore. I look forward also to go to Hong Kong because I'm strongly convinced Hong Kong it's a great opportunity, and I was ready to go to the event last February, but the trip was actually postponed due to the emergency. But what I'm learning working with companies and bringing Italian companies around the world is it's very important to catch the opportunities, mostly in those areas of the world. And my suggestion is to take any possible advantage and explore all the opportunities, of course, starting from Hong Kong, that as Stefano, Peggy, and Jayne said, it's a great opportunity. And so I think it's very important to follow all those webinars and informative meetings that are organized during those weeks, and take the opportunity to go to Hong Kong as soon as is possible, as I hope to do so. Thank you very much. And one thing I want to add, Stefano, one of the other differences between mainland China and Hong Kong is that to travel to Hong Kong, you don't need a visa.
Yes, that's a very good point. Thank you, Emil. Thank you very much for your statements. Always very appreciated. And yes, of course, there are many more differences. China is, I don't need to remind you, is the biggest market, the largest market. Is a great opportunity for all of us. And thank God there are quite a number of very pleasant differences between Hong Kong and China. And Hong Kong is China. That is the beauty of it. I've seen a few questions. Maybe Jayne, can you look at it? Or Peggy, can you look at the chat? Perhaps you could choose any of them that makes it easier and quicker for you to reply to some of them. I've noticed one about the minimum capital. I've seen another one very interesting on about the funding of startups. Perhaps you could put together those two.
Yeah, let me just scroll. Yeah, happy to address these. I apologize if I can't take them all of them, but I'll definitely ones that come across that we can see. We'll certainly be happy to address some of these. Now, there's someone from Angelo Minotti, and he's asking, dear Stefano, is there room for space startup? Not quite sure what you mean by space, but if you're talking about, you know, actually going into space, so we're talking about aerospace kind of startups, we have the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park is very R&D focused. I don't think they've got anyone on board with aerospace kind of information or expertise, but they can certainly connect you to the relevant people within China. So the aerospace area is very big and very well developed in China. And, you know, we would be happy if you want to send us an email talking a little bit more about what your startup is. We'll see if we can connect you to the right kind of experts. What is a minimum requirement? This is to, I think, is it? I can't actually see the name, but that someone's asking, what is the minimum investment required to set up a limited company in Hong Kong? So Hong Kong is very, very business friendly. You can basically set up a limited company, I think Peggy already mentioned, with $1 Hong Kong dollar. So when you think about there's 10 Hong Kong dollars to a euro, roughly, you're talking about a very small minimum amount that's required to actually open up a limited company. Obviously, you know, just because the minimum requirements are low doesn't mean to say that we would like, you know, people to open companies that are more shell. We would love to see people here setting up a company, taking advantage of the different business opportunities, especially in the startup side, and, you know, expanding the business and ultimately hiring and contributing to the Hong Kong economy. So, you know, the actual process itself is very straightforward for the whole process of opening up and setting up a business. From Federico is it Vincenzo? What about money grants or funds to startups? So, and Peggy is going to make the presentation available. Actually, Stefano is going to make the presentation available to you, where she did highlight some of the funding schemes that are available. So, Hong Kong government has been incredibly generous in terms of prioritizing this sector. There is a whole rash of different kind of funding programs for example, on R&D, if you're trying to do a substantial amount of R&D work, or you're looking to hire PhDs or other kind of very experienced scientists to actually help you with support. And, you know, for example, one of the funding schemes that Peggy mentioned is the Enterprise Support Scheme. That is a matching grant that the government will provide you of up to $1.3 million US. And that's based on payments in tranches. You have to apply for this, and it will be peer reviewed by a committee who will look at the merits of your application. They will also interview you and see what your ideas are and whether it's something that obviously is going to hopefully make a difference within the R&D space globally, and specifically Hong Kong. And then based on that, they will say yes or no to your funding application. But if you look at the different types of funding schemes, I think we have been, and we're seen to be as one of the most generous in terms of funding schemes globally for startups. And there's a lot of support around to actually help you apply for them as well. For more information though about, the details about the various types of government support, the funding schemes that are available, please go to our website, www.startmeup.hk, and under the resources, we've tried to compile all the government funding schemes that are available into one single area so people can access that easily. So do check that out. There's someone asking about supporting a healthcare mid to late stage startup in the ophthalmology space. We do have a priority on health tech in general, and the best company to actually support you on that is the Hong Kong Science and Technology Park. And as I mentioned, if you do reach out to us, we'll link you up to the right people, and you can start an early discussion with Science Park. I know that Stefano is actually going to be, asking Science Park to actually do one of the talks as part of this series, and you can get a lot more information. But the Science Park would be a great facilitator for you if you are in you know, if you're interested in actually being accelerated, and they do that even for mid-stage companies, you can consider the programs there, or you can become just a tenant at this Hong Kong Science and Technology Park, and then you would get access to all the facilities, including their access to the funding schemes, as well as their go-to-market kind of support as well. Let me see. Public, from Federico Papa, he's asking us if I can tell him more about the Hong Kong public investment programs. Are they equity free? Yes, for the majority of them. There is one exception, which is the ITVF, which is the VC matching fund that Peggy also mentioned in her presentation. And what that is that we've selected in the first instance about 5 or 6 VCs based in Hong Kong as a trial kind of basis, and we basically co-invest with the VCs on terms of $1 on the government side and $2 on the VC side. So for example, if you've got a startup and you approach those VCs and they agree to invest in you, and you're also based in Hong Kong, they can then pass your information to the Innovation Technology Bureau, who's responsible for this. They will look at the investment and they will co-invest on exactly the same terms as a VC. So what that means is that you know, we're basically helping to de-risk some of the VC's investment, but also we're hoping to really encourage them to invest more into the Hong Kong-based startups as well. Let's see, seed funding. So Lorenzo Stefano is asking whether there is any program for finding seed investors in Hong Kong. He says, my startup's developing a system to classify face people. So in terms of seed funding, for those kind of programs, it really is incubation that you need to look at. So again, the Science Park, Cyberport are the 2 publicly funded institutions that really have the biggest range of incubation programs, and in addition to the mentor side support and, you know, network access, they will also give you a level of financial investment as well. It's not very much, I'll tell you that now. It's something like, I think, 200,000 Hong Kong dollars, I think, at Cyberport. That translates to about 20,000 euros as seed funding. So, you know, it's not a massive amount of funding, but I think what's great about those programs is that once you're on there, they have, you know, very large networks of investors associated with them. So you would be able to get access to that as well. And in terms of trying to access other types of seed funding in Hong Kong, it's really done in more of like a, you know, trying to connect with the investors here, but maybe trying to leverage more the event side of things to try and meet relevant investors. But there's not like a program as such for seed investment here. $1 Hong Kong to make a greenfield investment, I suppose. Greenfield as in a shell company, we try to encourage people not to just leverage Hong Kong's business advantages purely as a shell company. I think there are fantastic opportunities to set something up in Hong Kong and leverage that as a gateway to not just China, but really to other areas within Asia as well. Hong Kong recently signed a free trade, well, it's not a trade agreement with ASEAN, so the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. And basically what that means is that it's given us a whole bunch of preferential access to different cities and countries, and kind of benefits and protection as well. So it's really worth looking at Hong Kong as a place to potentially really try and scale up and raise your profile within the Asia region.
I think, Jayne, I think we have answered most of the questions. There was one from my friend Antonino was saying $1 is for green investment, greenfield investment. $1 is the legal requirement for limited companies capital. Of course, So that means that, you know, it's meant to make things easy, let's say. In Italy, you know, you need a capital requirement, minimum capital requirement of 2,000 euros, and you have to pay 1/3 to the bank and wait for all the process to go through. In China, you have to deposit usually 1 million renminbi, or you have to present a business plan justifying the cost and investment, and then you have to wait for the authorization to proceed. If the capital authorities believe that the capital is not enough, you have to put in more capital, and then all the payments of the capital has to go through specific channels. Whoever has familiarity with China know about all this bureaucracy that can extend the time to set up a company to up to 3-4 months easily in China. In Hong Kong, nothing of that. $1 Hong Kong is symbolic, of course. That means there is no actual need to pay this $1 Hong Kong to a bank account. No need for that. It's just a formality for the accountants, for the secretarial services that will help you set up the company to declare in a piece of paper the capital paid up is $1 Hong Kong or 10,000 or 1 million, whatever is required. So this is the answer to that. And I think we replied to most of the questions. I think we covered them all. Jayne, what do you think? Is there any
I think I've just come across one that I didn't see earlier, which was, can we help to show the presentation to investors? And we have the StartMeup Hong Kong Festival, which is happening in July. I'd just like to spend a minute talking about that because it really is a fantastic opportunity. So the physical event last year, we had about 17,000. Actually, it was probably closer to about 20,000 when we took into all the other side events that went on. It was just the main events we counted. So incredibly popular. But I think what's more interesting is that the majority of the people do come from around Asia, and a lot of them leverage the StartMeup Hong Kong Festival as a means to actually find out what's happening in other markets without having to travel too far. So with the various events that we've got going on, so for example, on the smart city side, they are definitely opening to startups, and I think they've got these booths that's available as well if you want to raise your profile of your smart city startup to a wider audience. There's also, like W Hub, they've got 2 days of events going on, and there's everything there. There's masterclasses, there are, you know, startup booths. There's also direct one-to-one business matching with investors as well as other partners. There's a hackathon. There are people top-notch speakers coming from around the world as well to be speaking at that. So I do suggest you try to find out more about the various events. Again, we haven't yet updated some of this information on our website because literally we just announced yesterday we're going virtual. But we will be, if you connect to Stefano or connect to us, we will be happy to connect you to the organizers, and you can see how you can get your company in front of a much bigger audience as well. So whilst we don't actually, provide a direct kind of opportunity, we organize events, a platform to enable you to actually do this. And finally, I think I'm hoping that I've covered all the questions. You can always reach out to Stefano, to either one of us, and I'm sure the contacts will be made available. But I just want to say that, just the tough time you folks have had in Italy, our heart is here with you. We understand what you're going through.
I would like, if there's nothing else, I would like to close it now. I strongly recommend all of you to please participate at our next future webinars. The next one, I will remind you, is the one in cooperation with the Hong Kong Science Technology Park, one of the major players in the Hong Kong startup and technology scene. And I also remind you that 5 projects will be selected and presented, and you'll have a chance to present your projects to the Hong Kong Science Technology Park incubation team, and they will get back to you right away to discuss your project and to let you know whether your project is feasible, has a good chance of being admitted, and so on. All the way, myself, my staff, my team, Peggy and Jayne in Hong Kong, and all our colleagues, I must remind you that Peggy and Jayne are specifically dedicated to the startup business. But then we have 10 teams in Hong Kong, all dedicated to specific sectors. So not only Peggy and Jayne, but also all our colleagues will be ready to follow, to assist you, to listen to your projects. And please feel free to contact us, to get in touch with us at any time. I should repeat it, our services are free. And Jayne, would you like to say a few words to close it?
Just thank you to you and to Ilaria and your other speakers and of course all of you in the audience for listening to us. And thank you very much, Federico, about my Scottish accent. It's much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. Grazie a tutti e al prossimo evento. Grazie mille, arrivederci a tutti.